You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Survivor After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Survivor After Show.
Hey guys, Bing is for doing, and we're doing another Survivor After Show, Survivor Season 26, Fans vs. Favorites. I am your host, Justin Walter, and tonight I am joined by...
Jerri Manthy.
AJ Gibson.
And unfortunately, Ryan is missing in action. We voted him off this week, right?
Rotating cast.
Rotating the voting off members. Excited to be back. I was gone last week. AJ, you were gone last week as well.
I was here.
Jerri was here, holding down the fort with Philip. It was a fun episode to watch.
It was so much fun. We had such a great time.
Wish I could have been
I was afraid to be here.
That's
I had a conversation with him a few weeks ago, and then I talked about it on air the next week, and I was like, oh, I'm steering clear.
He doesn't care as long as you're talking about it.
You're right.
True. Yeah, so Phil, we love you. Thank you for
He
coming.
has a great attitude.
Definitely. So we only have 2 episodes of Survivor left in the season. It's kind of flown by.
Yeah.
Post-merge. I can't believe tonight we had the second to last episode. This Sunday is the finale. We're down to the final 6 in tonight's episode, and then final 5 in the finale. It's crazy.
I don't like the way it ends up like this every season now.
Final
where there's
5.
like 10 people, and then you have 2 episodes left, and then next thing you know, there's 3. I remember back in the old days.
You're dating yourself, Jerri.
I don't care. I loved it back then when it was like, final 2.
Yeah.
And the episode somehow worked out.
Yeah, I'll never get used to Final 3. I hate it. I think it's the worst thing Survivor's ever done. They made a lot of great changes over the years, I feel like, but the Final 3 is just, ugh.
Well, and it seems like even with the final 3, it always comes down to 2 people anyways.
Always.
Because
Yeah.
you have that third wheel that it kind of never gets votes or doesn't really play that big of a role. So.
dead weight.
The dead weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Maybe this season will be the first time the final 3 will actually be kind of entertaining to watch. We'll see. So we get back from the Andrea Blindside Tribal Council, and basically before we get to the reward challenge, the show is focused on Eric. Eric as a prisoner of the island.
Who last week I said looked like Chewbacca, and now I've realized he looks like Jesus. I mean,
bow down.
If you could have gone up the tree like this, it would have been like, oh my God, it's Jesus.
It's interesting because I feel like in a lot of the most recent seasons of Survivor, they don't focus on the element of starvation. They don't really focus in terms of people starving a lot on the show anymore, where back in the old days, it used to be a lot of like the roughing it and the starving.
Well, I feel like they have a lot more food rewards now than they ever used to.
Yeah, and Eric was still complaining about being hungry even after he got the food with his family.
Well, he kind of
He's like, I'm hungry. Is there food? And I'm like, dude, you just ate like a whole
Oh, when he was ready to drop out of the challenge?
Yeah, I was like, come on.
He also came onto the show pretty skinny.
He's a twig. He's just, like you said, just from the start, always super skinny.
I think he officially lost his mind on this episode.
Yes.
I mean, he went totally bonkers. You didn't catch the beginning.
I was stuck in traffic.
Yeah,
LA.
hello. There was coconut trees, and he's laying underneath of it, which, by the way, is not a smart thing. They're like 90% of all deaths on islands are caused by falling coconuts.
Really?
Yes, it's
Whoa.
ridiculous.
It's a fact. Look it up on Bing.com.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
You're welcome.
So he's laying there on the ground looking up at these coconuts in the tree, and he's like, they're taunting me.
Since day 3 or 2, they've been taunting me.
And he tried to climb the tree, and he got really high up there, and then he started talking about how, well, if I fall off of it, at least nobody can say anything bad about me because I was trying to get food.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens
All right,
with...
you lost it, dude.
Mentally, he was pulling a Dawn, unfortunately. Going crazy.
Oh, she goes crazy again. But,
Every episode she cries.
so how producers on Survivor, like how cool are they with letting you do things like that? If your life is obviously in danger and you're all the way up that coconut tree, they just let you do it?
Of course,
Yeah, you
that's
gotta
your
do it.
choice.
Well, because I know a few seasons back there was the drowning death on it was a crew crew person on Survivor years ago during what season was it? While they were filming in the water, there was a drowning.
Never
And I
heard
don't
of
know if
that.
I don't know if it was a crew person or if it was a local that was involved with production somehow. And I know that people that were on Survivor a few seasons ago said that for a few seasons they didn't do a lot of water challenges, and they kept them. They were very strict about keeping contestants out of the water for that reason. So I wonder if what's like as far as safety goes, like how strict are the producers? They let you kind of do your own thing?
Well, anytime you're on an island setting, which, you know, pretty much is all the time now, there is, I forget the name of it, but there's actually a channel where fresh water runs from the top of the island out to the ocean, and it is a straight line down, and your beach is generally like in a horseshoe shape, and so right in the middle, there's this water that streams out into the ocean, and when the tides are coming in and out, or if it's raining or storming or something, that small section, the riptides, are incredibly strong.
Oh, really?
So we get like a diagram of our beach, and they explain, do not go in this particular area. And I know on Heroes and Villains, I think it was Rob Mariano went out into the ocean and got stuck in one, and it started sucking him out.
Wow.
And the guys came jumping out of the woods with their little dinghy raft,
Wow.
and it was like went out there and
Crazy.
rescued him. So I mean, there is a certain level where they educate you on what's not
And thank
smart
God
to
they
do.
did rescue him, because I mean, what would the show be without him?
Well, they wouldn't have.
They would have
this
lost an
season.
entire season after that.
But you can climb a tree to get coconuts if you
I
want.
mean, look at Ozzy. Ozzy is the perfect example of
Yeah.
they let him climb and do whatever he wants to do, where Eric obviously was trying to, but he doesn't have the skills.
Ozzy is sort of like the real life version of is it Mowgli from the Jungle Book?
Yes.
Right? He's like a
Sure.
real life version of Mowgli.
Yeah.
You know what? I want you guys out there to do some research, because I'm really curious.
Yeah, about this.
What season that would have been that someone drowned on, because I never.
Well, I
heard
know
about it.
recently abroad there was a Survivor show. I can't remember what country where a contestant died, and they canceled the production of the
Really?
show. Mm-hmm.
I do. I remember hearing.
Yeah,
something
that
about
was that was only a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Where the contestant had
I could have also
had a heart
misunderstood.
attack.
It could have been a Survivor from a different country. I thought it was our version of Survivor, though. I thought it was somebody involved with
I
production.
don't remember that. So maybe, yeah, if you guys could tweet us or let us
Yeah.
know if someone knows anything about that.
Don't tweet me, my phone's dead.
Yeah. Well, another interesting thing about Eric was he was complaining that he's so bored on the island. There's nothing to talk about anymore. There's nothing to do. And he just is wasting away. Time is boring. Time is past. So, Jerri, as someone on the show, when does it get to the point where there really is nothing to talk about on the island?
Well, first of all, one of my life mottos is only boring people
There
get
you go.
bored.
Yeah. I'm like,
I've never been bored
I
a day
agree.
in my life, not
Awesome.
even a second. So
Yeah.
to have someone say I'm so bored, kind of is a testament to their personality.
That's pretty fair, I think.
well, and what he's kind of done for this season
Yeah,
Nothing.
brought some boredom.
yeah.
So I looked it up.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, awesome.
It says that a Survivor crew member drowned recently in Brazil while working on a future
okay.
season.
Ooh.
He was
Okay.
part of an advanced team for a future production, and he
wow.
drowned in the Rio Nova River in Brazil.
Wow,
Do you know-
that's so
I wonder if that's
sad.
what
Is there a name?
It's Alton Desiree.
Oh, so
Yeah,
sad.
I don't know that person. Wow, that's horrible.
That is terrible.
I mean, that just shows you it is dangerous.
legit.
Yeah.
Regardless of what production there is or what the fact that it's a TV show, it's still very dangerous.
Yeah, sad.
But yeah, the whole boredom thing, honestly, I mean, okay, I'm sorry, but when it's 35 days in and you're that close to winning,
Yeah.
you know what? Go make little people out of sticks if you're that bored.
Yeah, I think day 10 would be more boring. Like you're like it's not new and exciting anymore. You've been there for a little bit of time. You're still so far from the end. Like day 35, like come on.
I mean, you always have strategy to talk about, regardless, in terms of you could talk strategy day and night as long as you want to.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the people that are left now are not really the strategists.
Well, he's definitely not. We've seen that all season in
Yeah,
terms of being a
true.
strategist. He doesn't know what's going on in the game. He's just a floater doing what he's told, casting votes that nobody knows why he's casting them.
That's why he's bored.
He's bored
Yeah.
because he's clueless.
You nailed it on the head.
He's clueless, which is sad because he's a super fan that's clueless.
He seems like
He's
a
a
really
nice
sweet
guy, yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry. You kind of lost me, Eric, when you said you were bored, man. I was like, God, dude, you're 35.
Go explore
days
the
in.
island. Talk to people. I'm sure even. Oh, we have a caller. Let's take a caller. Jeez, we're going all over the
Oh,
place.
I know.
Caller
Hey,
on
who's
the line
online?
with the Survivor AfterBuzz TV After Show.
Hello,
Hey, how's it
Hello.
going? Who is this?
Anthony.
Hey, Anthony, how you doing?
Good.
So, what'd you think of tonight's episode?
It was heartbreaking in a way.
Yeah, well, you
Because
sound so
Brenda went home.
distraught.
Thank you, a Brenda fan.
God, we had to bring this up. So you sound demoralized that Brenda went home.
Yeah, because like she won the family challenge for the whole entire tribe, and then to see that they basically blindsided her, and to what she said in her final words was sad.
It is heartbreaking. I mean, I have to admit, just being blindsided and backstabbed like that. But let's all just remember what show we're watching.
Survivor,
Yeah,
outwit,
Survivor.
outplay, outlast.
Yeah, it's not unusual or out of the ordinary that somebody who does a great deed and is a good person gets backstabbed.
Yeah.
It's sad to watch.
Yeah, Anthony, do you think that because she gave up her reward, that should have just guaranteed her another week or another day, actually, at this point?
Yeah, I mean, like it's understandable that she would go home like in the next tribe or whatever, but like Eddie was ready to go at the time, so.
Yeah, what I didn't understand is like Cochran. I understand why he did what he did. I feel like though they could have safely gotten Eddie out tonight and Brenda out the very next day.
Not if she won challenges.
She's a beast in the challenges. Eddie hasn't won anything.
Yeah.
Anthony, now that Brenda's gone, who are you hoping wins in the finale this Sunday?
Either Eddie or
That's not going to happen.
That's it.
Yeah, thank you.
I know it's not going to happen.
But you'd like to see
those
basically
are
the
only
underdog
one
win,
now.
huh?
No, but I like
Cochran will be a reasonable winner, but other than
Yeah.
that.
I like that you say Eddie though, because I think that Eddie's chances just got a lot better now. I feel like the longer he sticks around, because they're backstabbing people left and right. Andrea's going to be not so happy with her former alliance. Brenda not so happy with her former alliance. Philip not so happy. So all these people that just backstabbed all these other tribe members. Now Eddie's hanging around this. If he can make it to the end, if he can win this next immunity challenge, he's got a shot at it.
I'll bet
I never thought I'd say that.
$100 he's not in the final
I never
three.
thought I'd say that. I never thought I'd say that. But you look at
$100.
who's left
He
though.
doesn't have $100.
The individual immunities. Look who's. Reynolds gone.
Eric.
Andrea's gone. Eric. It depends if it's. Sometimes he's good. Sometimes he's terrible.
Yeah.
So it really kind of depends what this next immunity challenge
Yeah.
is.
Well, Anthony, it sounds like you're really sad about Brenda, so we apologize.
I'm sad too.
AJ's heartbroken too.
I just
I'm
wanted to
not that
walk out.
heartbroken, to be honest.
He cheered. He
I
cheered.
was so happy Dawn won immunity, and we'll get
I
to
can't
that.
wait to talk about
So,
Dawn.
You know what? That just goes to show what I said about when you win a challenge. Be selfish.
Yeah.
Just take it.
take
Make
it.
people mad at you
Yeah,
because
that's what you
honestly, you're
said.
better off.
Yeah, very true. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for calling, and definitely call back and watch the finale, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, I will.
Take care, buddy.
Awesome.
Bye.
Oh, you sound so
Oh
sad.
my God.
I feel for him.
It
I
is
get it.
interesting too because even on YouTube, there's a lot of Brenda fans, like people that comment on our show. It's a lot of I love Brenda. I love Brenda.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're the type of fan, and this is why I always watch Survivor, and this is why I'm always let down, because I'm the type of fan who prefers, and honestly, Jerry, you're probably one of the only quote unquote villains that I've ever actually liked on the show. I usually don't go for those people. I always.
Because I'm not really a villain.
I know, but I always go for the person that I can relate to and the person that I feel plays an honest game. Does that person usually win? Usually not. But I understand. So because if you're the type that's going to go for the backstabbing, conniving type, you might be a fan of Philip or Andrea or Cochran or Dawn because they all did it.
Here's the difference. I think.
But if you're a fan of the pretty straightforward, honest type, you've got who do you have right now? Brenda, maybe Eddie, and maybe even Eric.
Eric, definitely.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I tend to go for the players, the strategic players who I try and look at the game and say, who in this game made the most influence on the game? Right now, I would argue Dawn is the most strategic player in this game, even though people don't like her Cochran as well, but even though people don't like Dawn because she's getting emotional and everything, every move that I'm looking at, the big moves, Dawn is the pivotal person. You have the Corinne week, you have the Malcolm week, you have this week as well with Brenda. Dawn is the one people are constantly going to be the pivotal vote. Whatever way Dawn goes, that's who's getting voted off.
I see that, but I also look at it from a different perspective because the first time Brenda played, she did have a more pivotal place in her tribe, and she made a lot of the calls, and it was kind of her downfall in the end. And she learned from that and came out and tried a new strategy this time, which I respect. However, just because you can make the choices, and just because you can convince your tribe doesn't mean you always have to. And that's what I respect about Brenda. I feel like Brenda really played a really smart game. I don't think she was a floater. I don't think it's fair to call her that at all, because she's competed in every single challenge. She's won immunities. She's done well for herself. I don't think she just kind of coasted along. I think she earned her
flew under
spot.
the radar.
I think she earned top 6. Did she earn to win? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I feel like it breaks my heart a little bit, because I really
fine.
actually
I love it that you love her.
I liked watching her as a player.
But you hardly saw her, so I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say that this episode in particular allowed me to see Brenda and get to know Brenda
Definitely.
as a person who clearly has very strong morals and is probably somebody that I could really get along with in real life.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I got to see that. But I along the whole time, I'm just like, who's Brenda?
She's never
Who's Brenda?
there, which obviously.
Yeah.
I think I carried into this season the heartbreak from her going out
From
last
Nicaragua.
time, because I was pulling for her so hard then.
She was crazy. She was such a
And
strategic
just
player.
a little background, a little information. This is probably why I feel the way I felt at that time. My sister, I told you this. My sister was up for Survivor, and Lynn, who cast Survivor, essentially, from what I was told from my insider information in that arena, was that when they let my sister go, because my sister went through finals and all that as well, when they let my sister go, they told her they were looking for a really, really hot brunette.
Brenda.
And that was Brenda that season. And so I think I was like, well, if she beat out my sister, you know what? She must be something, so I'm going to be a fan of hers.
Oh,
so I
wow.
watched her that
That's
entire
big of
season,
you.
kind of fell in love with her the entire season.
Okay.
And then her coming back this time, she's the only one I was really connected to besides Andrea, I guess.
See,
and a little
if
bit Dawn.
someone got cast over me, I'd say I want them first out.
I respect
I'm sorry.
I respected it.
Let's be honest.
My sister's a pretty cool chick, so if she knocked out my sister, she must be something.
That's very big of you.
Wow, Justin, I definitely don't want to play Survivor with you.
Oh, jeez. Well, Jerry, we would never have that problem.
You don't think so?
You would not. I mean, in terms of we're very different people.
She would eat you alive.
You look very tasty.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. But in terms of, let's go to the reward challenge. I mean, the reward challenge was basically a lot about Brenda. But before we got to it, they brought out the Sprint phone, the Sprint phone, and they had to look at their videos and see that their family members were coming, and one by one
I didn't
they
know
all
Sprint
came.
was still around.
I have Sprint. What? What's wrong with Sprint?
That's cute.
Oh, yeah. So go Sprint. But so basically, in terms of everyone, we got Sherry's husband that came, Dawn's husband that came, Cochran's mother, Eddie's father, Brenda's dad, and then who is the sixth person? Or that's it. Eric's brother. So those are all the family members that came out. And the challenge was each of the family members and the contestant had to spin a pole and get it off this
And get it really
thing.
dizzy.
So they got really dizzy. Then they had to go put it on a contraption. My description is terrible. And then once they had all three poles.
It was lawn darts.
Whatever that's called.
What is that game?
It's a backyard game where you have to throw the balls on string onto the bars.
game.
It's a drinking game, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically
Everything is a drinking game.
took a backyard game. And from the onset, I was sitting next to Jerry and I was like, this is Eric. Eric and his brother, obviously most athletic two out there. You have Cochran's mom, who's older. You have Eddie's dad, who's he was a little overweight and kind of out of shape. But then it turns out that it really kind of did even out. Once they had their bars or their poles lined up, it really did come down to the tossing of the ropes and the balls.
A lot of tossing
Unless
this
it was...
season.
There's no Randall and Malcolm.
Always
so.
tossing. Yeah, no Malcolm this time.
Or Reynolds.
Yeah.
Reynolds.
Yeah, so it came down to basically Brenda, Dawn, and Sherry were the lead contenders, and then Brenda's father sealed the deal and won the reward challenge for her. And one thing going back, we have to talk about this. When the loved ones each came out and they do their hug and they're crying and every sort of thing, this was the first season that Jeff Probst said after all 26 seasons that a loved one's visit made him cry. And it was Brenda and her father, which was, I found interesting.
See, even Jeff Probst loves Brenda. I'm just saying, you guys.
Very sweet. She's very sweet. As a character, we didn't get to see much of her this season, but you can tell she's a sweetheart. She's beautiful. She's a sweetheart. But that was,
They could have said it about someone else, and they could have edited it together.
Oh.
Let's you guys forget.
But they're making us. They're making.
Don't tell me these things.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm
here's
sorry, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but it is an edited show.
But going to last season, I remember one of the most emotional family visits I've ever remembered was Lisa Welshaw. Oh, and I thought, that was like this epic.
Their brother?
Yes. Her brother.
Yeah, who's her brother?
I was going to say
Much younger,
her
but
brother.
yeah.
but it was so dramatic and like emotional and heartfelt. Where I think maybe for Brenda, this season, obviously, I've been a little harsh on her as a fan. I just am not connected with Brenda this season, so her loved one's visit wasn't
because you're
emotional.
heartless.
I'm not heartless.
Well, it's so crazy because I find myself getting so cynical, and I try not to be, because I actually got my very first family visit on Heroes and Villains.
Your sister, right?
My sister, who I only get to see maybe once a year.
Yeah.
And that's occasional, maybe for like 3 days or a week at the most.
Yeah.
And I mean, as emotional as I wasn't like breaking down, falling down on my face, and people get emotional about people that they literally live with and see every single day.
Well, do you think it makes it harder for them because since they do live with them every day, there's that detachment, whereas like I'm like you with my brother and sister, they live in separate cities. I don't see them, maybe I see them twice a year,
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe it is harder for a Dawn who lives with her husband every day and then is ripped apart.
I don't know. To me, it's like you're going to go home and see them. Like,
In
why
5
are you
days.
freaking out so bad? Like, I don't get it. But then again, I have never been on the show before where I had someone at home to come home to.
So let's put you in the position if it were your husband now. Do you think you'd go kind of crazy?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
I don't know.
We'll have to find out in a future season when you're back on, right?
You never know. I don't know. Maybe because I just said that, I'm going to have to eat my words. And you'll see me like fall into a puddle of my own tears and snot.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to be like for me. Like I feel like I wouldn't get that emotional. Like when we were on our show, I didn't really care. Like there was a challenge where I get like a video from home, and
you had your sister with you.
But I had my
though.
sister with me the entire time, so that I wasn't alone like on Survivor, and also we got food. Like we got to like cook our own food.
Well, there you go. You don't even get to talk about this.
No, but I feel
you
like
know about it.
No, I feel like if I were hungry.
Wait, you guys got cots to sleep in too, didn't you?
So every now and then as a reward we
good
did.
God.
Every now and yes. After we hiked to the top of the Atlas Mountains in a snowstorm and slept there with no tents, we did get caught so we didn't freeze to death.
Barefoot,
No.
upstairs, uphill both ways.
But I also feel like if when I get hungry, like if I just get hungry in like any given like day, I get really cranky. Like I can't imagine not eating like a real meal for 30 some days.
If he doesn't get food every 10 minutes, he's done.
Oh, I do. So I can see myself breaking down and like bawling, like losing my shit because I wanted to see my mom.
It's
I don't get it.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe someday I'll understand.
Yeah. So we got that real emotional hugging, and the one thing that Brenda said that was really interesting, she was crying and sobbing and saying, "Dad, I took your advice. I've been humble. I'm so humble this season. I took your advice and I'm here. I'm got this far." So to your point, AJ, I'll give you the credit to this. This is hard for me to say, but you really get in that moment, or what I took from that moment is Brenda did make the conscious decision this season to play a different game.
And in all honesty, I think that's kind of what I relate to, because I feel like for me personally in my own life, I've been going through some changes lately and trying to really work through some stuff and like realize like where my shortcomings are as a man. And I've tried to, as it might not be apparent yet, but I've tried to kind of humble myself and try to learn to just approach people in a different way.
Yeah.
And because I am a very blunt person, and that can be funny and exciting for people, but at the same time, it can be very hurtful for people.
Can turn people off.
Exactly. So I'm trying to know when to pull that back a little bit more and when to like still allow AJ to kind of come out. Yeah. So I think I relate to Brenda. I like that to see that she was able to come out here and make such a drastic change in her game from the last time. I really respect that.
Yeah.
And I look at it this way, that, obviously she came out here and she told her dad, I was humbled. This is just the midpoint of a long journey for her.
Midpoint.
So in her
at the end.
In her life, in her life, I'm saying. So maybe that is something she's trying to do in her life as well. So you know what? Winning Survivor isn't the be all end all.
Oh, it is.
You know what I mean? So
when you're on it, it is.
But for her though,
or you shouldn't be there.
But for her though, because somebody like Dawn, maybe Dawn, say let's fast forward and Dawn wins the $1 million.
Oh,
Dawn
has like that.
But Dawn's going to have some restless nights. She will. I know Dawn. I've spoken with Dawn. Like the type of person she'll have some restless nights.
If she wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, give me a break. She'll get over it.
Yeah.
No, I think she will.
She's getting different feedback this time around.
From last time, and it hasn't been as uplifting. Exactly. So I think that at least Brenda, if nothing else, Brenda can walk away and be like, look, I was able to be very straightforward and honest and true to my alliance and true to everyone involved, and I can be happy with it.
All right, we have another caller. Hey, who's on the line?
Caller on the line with AfterBuzz TV Survivor After Show.
Ooh, quite the intro. Hey, who is this?
It's Carol from Toronto.
Hi, Carol. How you doing?
From Toronto. I love it.
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I know.
Thanks for calling. So what are your thoughts on tonight's episode?
I'm very shocked about Brenda. Like,
No.
that's crazy.
Thank you.
So were you rooting for her? You were rooting for her?
I guess I wasn't expecting them to do a blindside with her, so that was crazy for me.
So, Carol, put yourself in the final 6. You see Brenda as a threat. Do you take her out like they did tonight? What do you do?
See, this is the thing. I feel like I have a bigger heart. Maybe that'll be like my downfall. But I kind of feel that Brenda deserved to stay for one more day because of all she did for everybody tonight. So,
For the reward challenge decision?
I feel bad. Yeah, come on.
I mean, being humble is what got her this
family.
far.
They were crying. What's her face? Sherry was bawling her eyes out.
How soon they forget, right?
So one thing Jeff asked,
right?
and she even said it in one of her confessionals, there's the double-sided sword or whatever.
Double-edged
Yeah, the
sword.
double-edged sword,
Yeah.
where you do make this decision, everyone's so happy for you, but then that makes you a huge threat because if you're in the finals, you can pull that out of your hat of, I gave up my family visit to give you 2 family visits. Do you think that was a crucial part in why she got voted off?
Of course.
I know that's what I guess some strategical people would feel. I just feel like I got to see my sister, or whoever it is that I got to see, and Eddie was kind of a sure bet, and I think I would have given it to her, especially Dawn. I felt like Dawn and her had such a connection this episode, and I felt like, the way that Dawn portrays herself is that, she's so emotional and she cares so much, et cetera, et cetera. And to see her kind of blindside Brenda when I felt like they had a true friendship. It was a little shocking. I know it's Survivor.
It was a Survivor friendship.
I don't think I would use it on Survivor because of that.
You
That
sound
maybe
so
wouldn't
sweet.
be a good fit for me.
I know. See, that's a hard thing for people who watch the show, and you have to constantly remind yourself that this is for $1 million. And
I know.
as
That's
much
true.
as we all want to imagine being nice and being the good person that we are in real life, when you go to Survivor, that's sometimes the hardest part about the game is really digging into that ruthless side of yourself and doing anything that's necessary to win.
Yeah.
And if you get to the point where you realize that being ruthless and being strategic isn't worth $1 million to you, then, at that point you can act accordingly.
Yeah.
But not everybody's going to be on that same page.
Definitely.
I love that you were just talking
No,
about this,
it's
though, 'cause
true.
we were just talking about this a moment ago, how I don't think Dawn coming out of this experience now she's not getting the same feedback she got last time around. And I think that in the long run, that will have an impact on her. It's just, I respect the players that play straight up games. I just do. Do they? They're obviously not going to win
So
very
you
often.
respect what? 0?
They're not going to win. I just felt like she deserved to get one more place further.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that they deserve to let her go to the finale. I do feel like that's got to get you somewhere. But at the same time, like Jerri said, like for me, when it comes down to that challenge, I'm just going to throw it every time. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I have any power to choose who
you
gets
don't
what.
wanna win that.
It's like they used to do the Ford Explorers or whatever years ago.
Yeah.
You don't want to win it.
Keep an SUV
Oh,
or give them.
right.
You remember that?
Yeah.
You never you give them away.
Yeah,
give
just
them away, and
get
then you're
that off
screwed.
my
But then if you
hands.
get it, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah. Well, Carol, thank you so much for calling in.
You're welcome, guys. I love this after show, Jerri. Oh my goodness, I have watched Survivor. I'm not every season do I watch Survivor, but I watched Survivor since the beginning, and then seasons throughout. But I remember you so well. I know they portrayed you really bad the first time you came around, but honestly, I loved you. I loved Coach. I loved the whole thing. So I'm so glad that I got to speak with you guys today.
Thank you so much.
Great after show, guys. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank
And I'm
you.
calling from Canada. So
Yeah.
Oh, Canada.
Well, I
Okay,
guess
bye, guys.
that's-
Have a good night.
I think we could end on that note.
Let's go home.
Go home tonight. Oh, thank you so much for calling. We love that.
Making dreams come true,
Making
Jerri
dreams come true.
Manthy.
Jerri
Oh
Manthy.
gosh.
All day, every day. Eat your heart out, Russell Hance.
See-
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
But
So I mean, I have to say, because on Heroes and Villains, I won the family challenge with my sister. We kicked everyone's butt, and it was awesome. It was like one of the best moments of my whole life, and it was another great bonding experience with my sister. But being put on the spot and having to choose people to take with me on that challenge, there are some people who will still argue that I made a huge mistake not taking Russell Hance with me and his wife. And it took a lot for me afterwards, going back to the beach, sitting down with Russell and explaining to him why I did what I did. And I mean, I felt like you know, I heard when I watched the show and I saw him walking around going, she's eating $1 million hamburger right now, you know, and I was like, oh man, you guys, this sucks. But man, you know, I think about it. It took me like maybe a year after to really think about my choice and why I did it and how it would have changed if I had taken Russell and Parvati with me instead. I can almost guarantee, because none of us knew Sandra had the immunity idol, that she would have convinced Rupert and Colby to blindside Russell. That's
It's
you know,
huge.
yeah. Now in retrospect, boy, do I wish I would have taken Russell with me to the freaking show.
Oh wow, it's huge.
But it is a lot of power, and it is a horrible position to be in, and you're put on the spot. It's not like you have ding, ding, ding time to like think about it, or you just kind of like.
And this season was so different because everyone had one loved one, and then the twist was, Brenda, choose someone to go with you. I choose Dawn. Oh, great, you're going to go. And usually it's choose someone else to go with you. But this season it was for the first time, we have another loved one here. So Brenda, you can give everybody else a second loved one and give up yours and Dawn, or you and Dawn can get your second loved one and go to this floating barbecue in the water. She basically, she gave everyone else the opportunity, so she and Dawn lost their loved one visit.
And Dawn flipped out. Dawn went crazy.
Dawn
I'm like, she tried to help you, Dawn, and then you turn around and backstab her.
Well, I can understand why Dawn flipped out, because Brenda in the situation looks like the good guy. Everybody else is eating and gets to see their loved one. Dawn gets nothing out of it.
I know, but that's not Brenda's fault.
Yeah, I know, but and she's emotional. She's emotional, you know. So I can see why she'd flip out.
And Dawn is a mother.
She's a mother.
And she probably has kids about Brenda's age. Like, you think on some level there'd be a connection there that would last maybe
She's just,
help her.
on her ends, on her ends. And then, at the barbecue, they were all into this barbecue. It looked like one of the most awkward barbecues ever. These people did not mesh. They were the most awkward group of people ever.
Cochran and his dad say no, oh God, what was the word they used?
I didn't even see Cochran's dad.
He's like, my dad's a book guy or something like that.
They're like, not congeniality, no formalities, or no, what do they say? Whatever, basically saying like we're just going to go ahead and eat without having any sort of like a prayer or a greeting of each other or anything. Nope, just go for it. I forget what the word was now.
I don't remember.
Oh, it's going to drive me crazy.
But yeah, it looked like not a fun barbecue.
No, and they're like standing over there on the raft, like looking at Dawn.
Yeah.
I'm so mad I could spit, and they're like going, hey, Dawn, don't worry about it. It's fun, but we're not having that much fun.
Yeah. Horrible.
Pretty bad.
It was really awkward.
And the picket fence around that's so weird.
It did look like a cheap barbecue.
And 50 feet off the beach.
Yeah. Just to rub it in their face.
Yeah, that was just set up to not be a pretty scenario for anybody. I mean, it's bad enough you have to go with a group of people and you can't take everyone with you, but to be that close and like staring at everyone while you're eating and hanging out with your family, that was.
And they didn't get that alone
weird.
time. Like last season, we saw Lisa got alone time with her.
Or Taj and Eddie George got to go out to. Where'd they go to? It wasn't Redemption. It was Exile.
Yeah.
Was that season? They got to go have some alone
time. So they didn't get really alone time with their loved one, which sometimes influences the game. But we did hear a morsel from Cochran, his mother, who he explains, 13 years ago he watched Survivor, with his mom as a young guy, and his mother whispered to him, "Brenda's gonna win this game. You got to take out Brenda." Which is crazy.
So we know where Cochran gets his strategy from.
But we saw the reward and his athleticism.
Yeah.
But so that was interesting that, I love that Cochran's mom, whispered to him on the raft, "Hey, Brenda's going to win this season,
Yeah.
do something
So what
about
do you
it."
do? Okay, if you were Brenda, you just take the win?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I would.
You would?
Yeah, because exactly what happened is going to happen. You end up looking like a saint. And then they even said it in tribal council. Like, Brenda's a saint. Nothing could ever happen to her.
Because at this
But
point,
what's the opposing side, though? That she's a bit, she's a bitch.
Well,
No,
but they
she's
also
not a
know
bitch. She won.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fair win, straight up win.
My question
it's
would be,
your option to take it.
Say you are Brenda and you get down to final 6. What stops you from going just batshit crazy? Why don't you just get crazy and start making enemies? Why wouldn't you at that point? So somebody
You're on Jerry's side.
So somebody wants to keep you around to the end. Then at that point, why don't you start making some bad choices and making yourself
Make
look bad?
people mad at you.
Yeah, so that you can stick around to the end. Do you think that's an
Because
option?
then if you make people mad at you, then they're mad at you. And then they go to the jury and they're mad at you. And then you sit in the final 3 and they're mad at you.
Yeah, it's a catch-22.
It's the whole double-edged sword thing. And you can't do right, you can't do wrong. There's so much luck involved.
I was just going to say that. I mean, it really does come down to luck on these seasons.
It's so much more than anyone could ever possibly understand. Like strategy set aside, you better have a ton of luck.
And it's also being adaptable, I feel like, in terms of assessing that luck and seeing where it's falling in the game.
Yeah.
One thing that was interesting in terms of strategically was we saw Brenda and Eric talking with Dawn, saying we want to take Cochran or Sherry out, and then Sherry and Cochran talking to Dawn, saying we want to take Brenda out. So it's kind of, you know, this battle of Dawn in the middle again. Dawn in the middle always this season, which I think goes to show Dawn is playing such a huge role in this season, and that's one of the reasons I said earlier. I think Dawn is playing a great game.
Well, I think she's playing a great game.
She's always in that.
I think she's playing a great game. I don't like her as much as I used to.
Well, you know what it is? I think it's also a double standard for women, because here Dawn is separating emotion from the game and playing a strategic game. If a male is doing this and separating emotion, he's the best player ever.
Oh, I get it. Trust me. Look, I've been a Hillary Clinton supporter since way before it was popular to be a Hillary Clinton supporter. I get that. However,
I think it's because Dawn's the mom. She shouldn't be making these ruthless decisions. No, she's playing a strategic game.
No. She can make ruthless decisions. She bullshits her way through every one of her confessionals and cries and says that she's this wonderful, wonderful person.
She's separating the game from reality.
If you're going to be that, be that. Own it. That's what I don't respect her out of this season. She cries all the time, like, poor me, poor me. No, be a bitch. If you're going to be a bitch, be a bitch.
She's not being a bitch.
She is, though. She's backstabbing. She's doing all these things. That's fine, though. I'm okay with that.
She's not being a bitch.
That's not being a bitch.
Being strategic.
She's being a strategic player.
I bet if you ask...
It was a great move for Cochran and Dawn to win to get rid of Brenda.
Yeah.
Period. There's no other way.
I just don't buy all the crying all season long. It just irritates me.
Well,
I'm like,
the
just own up to who you are.
irritating. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I can't. When someone cries that much, it's just at certain point you're like, toughen up.
Yeah.
It's funny. I use my mom as the barometer of. I'm from Chicago. It's like what the Midwest thinks of Survivor. And I'm like, Mom, who do you want to win this season? And she's like, oh, Malcolm's gone. Yeah. You know. And then I'm like, what about Dawn? Oh no. You know, it's like
it's
that.
It's the woman thing.
It's that thing. You know, it's that woman thing of my mom sees Dawn as this like, oh gosh, I can't believe she's making these moves. Yep. And then I'm, Mom, she's playing an amazing game.
That's why you look at these other shows. My mom watches American Idol, and for 5 seasons in a row, a white guy with a guitar won American Idol. Yeah. My mom voted for all 5 of them. It's the same thing. Midwest women, they like the younger guys who are kind of like nice and kind of boyish.
They grew up on fairy tales, and let me tell you, women, fairy tales ain't true.
So one thing, you know, obviously we've had 2 callers calling tonight, so we really just want to say thank you to our fans for listening. Definitely check out iTunes and hear our podcast, but give us comments, rate us, give us 5 stars, and let us know what you think of this season. You know, obviously we're going to be looking forward to the next seasons coming up after the summer, so let us know your comments, your feedback, and we love reading it on iTunes and on YouTube, reading your comments. And perfect timing, another caller. So hey, who's on the line?
Caller, you're on the line with Survivor AfterBuzz TV After Show.
We get these nice intro. Hey, who's on the line?
Hello, it's Shannon.
Oh, can you? Oh, do we?
Oh, an alien! An alien!
Wait, can you say that again? We have a misconnection a little bit.
Shannon.
Shannon?
Sorry, I'm calling from the Magic Jack.
Oh, you know what? You might want to hang up and call us right back because we have a really bad connection.
Yeah, can you try calling back again?
She'll call back.
Okay.
Did she say Africa?
So oh my God,
I heard Africa.
Awesome. So hopefully she calls back. We'll get that call back on. So let's move forward a little bit to the immunity challenge. Another kind of physical endurance challenge where they have to stand on a log, hold their hands behind them, holding on to almost looks like a tow
trapeze.
rope. Yeah, trapeze, or like when you're water skiing or knee boarding, kind of holding onto one of those. And everybody lines up, and then Jeff turns a wheel, and the log moves forward, so you're stretching more.
Classic Survivor.
It's great.
It
I love
looked
that
very
challenge.
much like a torture device when he was standing there going, I'm about to crank it up.
I feel like it's like pulling their arms out of their sockets. Yeah.
So Cochran was the first one out, and no one
Whatever
was
happened to Cochran dominating the immunity challenge? Like you said, I've won half of them. That was weeks ago.
Yeah,
Cochran.
but he did. I mean, I'm sure he's very proud of himself for winning the ones that he did win.
And then I can't remember, was it Eric or Eddie that went next? One of them. But basically the boys went first, and once Eddie dropped, Eddie, who's what everybody wanted to go this week supposedly, then all the women kind of just looked at each other. Yeah, we got this. We're good. Sherry drops, and then we're left with Dawn and Brenda. Here we go. Brenda again. final 2, and Dawn says, hey, why don't you just give it to me? I haven't won immunity yet. And Brenda says, no way. I'm staying on here. You know me. I'm going to fight.
I do love that about Brenda. I'm not going to lie. That, I'm standing there going, oh boy, she's going to give in. I can tell because it's Dawn. I just know it. And the fact that she didn't, I have to say, I've got to give her some props.
I like how she says, later, but she says she does it for herself, which I think is really cool. She's testing herself, which I respect. And you can't really argue with that in the context of the show. But then she did say, she just said, well, once I realized it was Dawn, I could have gone another 5 minutes, but I just let go.
Yeah.
I actually believe that she did let go. I actually don't feel like she was making excuses. I kind of actually believed her. And a lot of times I don't when people say
I think
like
Dawn
that.
would have outlasted her anyway, just based on her grip.
Yeah.
Yes.
She had a wide grip, and it was upside down instead of the other way.
A little bit wider stance, too, which makes a lot of difference because Brenda was pretty narrow and she was kind of wobbling a little bit, which will affect your grip then.
And Dawn was kind of straight as a pole where Brenda kept moving her back, up and down. And it was interesting in that confessional when she did say, it was Dawn, I let myself go.
But Brenda, they made Brenda look like a saint the entire episode, though.
Yeah, she went out with a halo above her head.
So that's then basically going strategically, you have Cochran, or it's actually Cochran had the idea to go after Brenda, and then Sherri.
Cochran mentioned,
yeah. So Cochran had this idea. I would love to go after Brenda, and then he didn't really bring it up to anybody. But then when he was in the water with Sherri, Sherri was like, I would love to go after Brenda this week. And then Cochran's like, yeah, let's do this. Then they approached Dawn and gave her that option.
See, now here's the thing, and I like Sherri. I actually enjoy Sherri. I don't feel like she and Dawn are playing that different of games. I feel like Dawn was in a better position very early on because her tribe won a lot more. But I feel like she and Sherri are pretty compatible. This is why I like Sherri more than I like Dawn. Sherri's not crying about it all day every day. Sherri's very straightforward. She's like, look, I'm a bitch. I'm gonna be a bitch about it. This is who I am, and I like that about her. I respect it about her. I wish. Who knows if I don't know.
think Sherri's been a bitch at all. I don't know.
Okay, so I think we're what that word means to me and what it might mean to you or might mean to somebody else. I think is different. I'm saying she's being very stern. She's being very focused. She's a little bit harsh. She's very
nobody's
blunt.
After her. Life is easy.
Yeah, Sherri, I feel like has such.
She's just like, la 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 la. I'm still here. Nobody's even mentioned my name. This is awesome.
It is interesting. For how many weeks? Even as a viewer, I'm like, Eddie's the last fan remaining. Nope. Sherri's still there.
I know.
It's like she was such a predominant player, but she's still there.
Well, that's because if she turns sideways, you can't see her anymore. She's so skinny.
Side note: The Blind Side was on TV the other night.
Okay, I was gonna say that. Is it weird? Is it weird that she looks like Sandra Bullock, who starred in the movie and won an Academy Award for the movie Blind Side? All we've been seeing week after week is Blind Side after Blind Side after Blind Side.
Side note, yeah.
Odd.
But it's interesting because there's your, you love Brenda for that strategy of laying low. Sherri's the queen of this season of laying low now. Ever since she got into this fans, the switch of the fans, Sherri's just been sneaking there.
See, and that is
sneaking there.
Perfect example of luck. Nobody could have seen that coming. Nobody could have planned for it. There's no amount of preparation that you can do that will put you in the position Sherri's in.
She was placed there.
Lucky.
She did get lucky. And the other thing is she seems to be in a Final 3 deal with Dawn and Cochran, yet we never saw that materialize in this season. It seems like, Cochran saying, I'd love to go to the end with,
Sherri.
Sherri.
Because they know they can beat her. I mean, that's the thing is, Eric would be easy to beat in the final 3.
Easy.
Sherri would be easy to beat in the final 3.
So when are Dawn and Cochran going to turn on each other? Why they have to, one of them has to turn on the other one.
I don't think they're going to.
I don't think they will this season.
Do you think that Cochran really thinks he's going to take Dawn to the finale?
Yes, I think
beat her.
I think he thinks that she's crossed more people than he has, and that's going to hurt her. I think that's what
I don't know if that's a $1 million risk, though. I think you blindside her and take Sherri and Eric.
We'll see.
Well, that would be the
that would be the
interesting
huge
choice.
Move and a smart move.
If either one of them cross the other,
It's kind
They both beat. I think, especially Dawn. They both need to be very aware right now. You look at the last 2 weeks, in Brenda and Andrea, both huge blindsides. I mean, you got to be careful.
I think they're obviously the two biggest threats in the game left. It's Dawn and Cochran. It's one of their games to lose, I feel like.
What if it's like Eddie, Sherri,
and Eric?
And Eric in the
then
finale.
Please.
Would you just
allow
die?
me to barf?
I think I'll just take a nap.
That's funny.
Oh gosh, I mean, in that situation, oh my gosh, I don't even know who I'd want to see win. Not Eric. Not Eric.
Eddie,
maybe.
I don't even like him at all, but I'm like, he's hung in there somehow.
You know what,
Sherri,
though?
I don't know.
Eddie kind of made me like him tonight
He's
at
gonna endear
Tribal
himself.
Council. He was just like, I'm still here. Oh,
That's got to be so frustrating to people like Philip on the jury right now who's like, who's this dude and why is he still here? And he's going, I don't know.
Well,
I'm
and it
still here.
is from the beginning of the. And that's the thing, Eddie. If he had a good argument for himself, it would be from the beginning of the season. I've been supposed to go every tribal council, and I'm still here, and I've gotten this.
My name's been written down. Yeah, my name's been written down almost every tribal council.
Yeah. So when Brenda did get blindsided, it was obviously Sherry, Cochran, and Dawn that voted for her. She was genuinely pissed. You could.
I don't think she was.
I don't think
pissed.
I think she was hurt. Yeah.
She was
Pissed is the
genuinely
wrong
hurt.
word. She was genuinely
she even
hurt.
Choked up. She said.
Yeah, she was crying.
I was honest with you guys, and I was totally 100% true to you.
Yeah, I felt like it was a very genuine response.
She's like, it hurt.
Yeah, and she was crying on her way out, and you could tell she was
This is one
hurt.
thing I'm really good at because I have a sharp tongue. I've got a little Jerri Manthy in me sometimes. I can have a really sharp tongue, but when I know it matters, if I really, really want to hurt somebody, I play that card. I do though. Well.
Oh, you mean you're passive aggressively?
Yeah, I really trusted you. I put my heart out there for you, and you did this to me. I don't know how I'll ever get past it.
Sorry,
but I felt like she was genuine. I felt like she really was hurt.
She was hurt.
I'm hoping that we're going to get a bitter jury. Let's get a bitter jury for some good questions in
Like
the
a
final
Sue, I
tribal
would have spit
council.
on you moment from season one.
But I think honestly, Brenda.
I hate bitter juries.
Oh, not a bit. No, I hate bitter voting juries. I like a jury that gives them hard questions.
I love.
But
good
I don't. Yeah, I
questions.
hate bitter juries that vote bitterly.
Well, you want to know one thing that's good? There aren't a lot of dumb blondes on the jury this season. Sometimes that happens. Their questions are like, "Oh my God, like how did you not get bit by bugs all season?" I want to ask you first. They ask like the dumbest questions. I'm like, really?
I think
like what was her name? Cat?
Your hair
Cat's
has been fabulous since day one. How do you do it?
Stunning.
So moving, we obviously have the final five going into the finale this Sunday. So let's get predictions on who we think is going to take home and how's it going to end up. So Jerri, what do you think?
I would love to see Cochran win, honestly, just because I missed his first season, but just his growth has been so huge, and even he has mentioned it several times. And I think that him and Dawn are pretty even, but for some reason, Cochran to me is just much more endearing. And I mean, I love Dawn. I love that she's got 6 kids and she's a tough mom, but either one of them deserves it more than anybody else, but my favorite on top of those would be Cochran. Yeah.
I say that Eddie's winning the next community.
Okay.
And I think that Cochran is going to blindside Dawn. I think
You think
I think he's going to take Dawn out.
Wow.
I think Cochran's going to win the whole thing. I don't really care for him that much anymore.
How can you not like Cochran?
I loved Cochran the first time around, and that's the thing about coming back a second time. Sometimes when you play like goofy, like lovable character the first time,
I think he was just goofy and lovable.
I think he's a little cocky, which I can respect. However, I don't enjoy watching him. So I like his one-liners though. I'll give him that much. But I think he'll blindside. I think he'll go after. After Dawn, and I think that will really have a lasting impact on Dawn because I think she already knows that she's done some shady stuff this season that she's probably not that proud of, and to have it still not pay off and have her still go through this because they played up the whole her like talking over and over again about how she got hurt by Cochran the first time around. I think it's going to happen again. I think she's not going to learn the lesson.
Interesting. I hope that doesn't happen. I want to see Dawn in the finals. I want to see her to fight, and I agree with you guys. I think Cochran's going to win this season. I am putting the word. I've said it. I think Dawn really deserves it as well, and I think that she's getting the harsh comments because of her being a mom and a woman
and because of what she's done.
And I think that she's done an amazing job coming back and changing her game. You want to talk about someone changing their game from the first season like Brenda did? Dawn has completely done that and played a strategic game. Go Dawn. So,
as long as she owns up to it, I'm okay with her winning.
I just wish she wouldn't cry so much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, well, thank you guys for listening. Jerri, where can people find you?
At Jerri Manthy on Twitter or jerrimanthy.com to find out anything about me.
I want to go there and find out things about you. You guys can follow me on Twitter at _AJ Gibson. Check out my website, ajgibson.tv. Every single time I give my Twitter handle, I go like this with my shoulders. Have you guys ever noticed that? I'm like the old guy and up. Okay.
You guys can follow me at Justin F. Walter on Twitter and justinwalter.com. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and cheers to the finale.
Cheers to the finale.
We'll be covering it later next week.
Nice.
Cheers.
To the finale.
To the finale.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.